Hey, what's up? It's Jordan. First ride on the 2021 Commencal Meta TR. Thought I'd just show the bike and maybe tell a few stories real quick. My first ride since my accident on April 7th, 2021. It's June 25th-ish, something like that. So it's been about 6 weeks since I had cracked this bad boy in half. And the doctor cleared me to ride last week. And so this is my first official ride. I did go to a bike park and just did a pump track and a few things just to try to get my suspension settings right, but I couldn't ride long because I glazed the pads in probably the first 10 minutes. So anyway, here's the bike, Commencal Meta TR. I am on a slant. Like I said, I'm at Devou Park in Covington, Kentucky, at the top of a trail called the Full Monty, and it is a sick little downhill section right here. Just a few observations about the bike. I don't know if I have the suspension set up correctly. I've only been climbing, except for a few, 10 or 15 foot descents, as I'm climbing, and I've already used that much of my travel. I did 20% in the front, and I did 25% sag in the back. And for literally just climbing, and like I said, those few short descents, I'm already at that much travel. So I don't know much about the sag or anything, any of the settings in the back. Everything is the recommended settings right now. So finding all that out. The bike does climb pretty damn good, but it's really hard to say at this point. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. Why? Because I have not rode for 6 weeks. I've just literally taken 1-2 mile walks around my neighborhood. So I'm extremely winded. I don't have barely any muscle mass left on my legs. And this bike is literally almost 40 pounds. So it's really hard to say how the bike is performing right now. So that's that. So just a quick story. This is not related to the Commencal Meta, but I was rebuilding my RockShox on my 2020 Ragley Mbop, and I accidentally grazed one of the inner glide bushings. Those are the silver ones that have the plastic layer around them, the ones that you never replace that come with the fork. I grazed them by accident with a new pick, pulling one of the sponges out, and I took it around just to see who has the parts, right? So I came to this place over here in Kentucky, and Reeser Bicycle Outfitters. Now keep in mind, I'm not cleared to ride yet at that point, right? So I'm just doing all this bike work, all this stuff with my left arm, and I walk in and I say, hey, do you got this part? Well, actually, let me back up. I'm standing at the door, and I got the fork in my one hand and my right, and I'm using my left, which is my weak arm, trying to get in. And I see the guys sitting in there. One guy's working on parts, like you should. The other guy, long-haired guy, just sitting there. And they kind of gesture to me come on, push the handle a little harder, push the handle a little harder. And I'm a little flustered. And I'm pushing. I know how to work a freaking door. So they come up. Finally, this one guy's just standing there looking at me like I am an asshole. He has nothing in his hands. He's not working. He's not logged into a computer. Just sitting there with his phone in his hand. I could only assume he's an employee because he was standing to the other tech. Man, if looks can kill, that guy made me feel like a piece of shit. Beyond any, bicycle douchebag I've ever dealt with. I'm sorry, I don't mean to call names, so I apologize. But I really felt awful by the way this guy treated me, just literally staring at me as I'm doing the best I can to get into their shop. Finally, the other guy who was working, younger than him, gets up, opens the door, lets me in, and is basically like, oh man, we don't have that. The other guy just looks at the fork and just kind of looks back at me and just starts giving me all these awful looks like, why'd you try to do that on your own? You need to send in for that. You should have taken it here. Then the other kid says, man, that's a $10,000 tool to get that bushing out, and blah, 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 blah. And just the way that they were saying it, condescending, in the looks, no reassurance, nothing. I walked out of there feeling like a piece of crap. And so I just wanted to tell that story. Again, I don't mean to name call by any means, but I do want to be very specific that it was Reeser Bicycle Outfitters who treated me that way. Literally just standing there looking at me while I'm struggling to get in, and the other guy was literally he finally got off his bike to help me out. So anywho, that's the story on that place, and here's the build.